Ukraine gets 70 powerful EW systems. AFU receives 70 FC.K, FC.KT, and FC.MP electronic warfare systems. They are designed to counter UAVs and other radio-electronic threats in the combat zone. The delivery was carried out in the format of international technological cooperation with a global leader in the field of cryptographic protection from Germany. The transferred systems have successfully passed codification and certification according to NATO standards. It is Friday, February 6, 2026. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. Join me in the latest program by Defense Report for the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover exactly how a massive delivery of 70 highly advanced systems is completely rewriting the rules of the kill zone on the Ukrainian front lines. We're going to look at secret flaws discovered in Russian drone engines that are changing the math of interception, and we're going to break down a massive shift in drone effectiveness statistics just revealed by Commander-in-Chief Syrskyi. Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a mountain of documentation to get through today, tech specs on these new FC series EW trucks, intel on Russian supply chains, and some pretty blunt assessments of Western procurement versus Ukrainian innovation.
Right. And the mission today, I think, is to connect those dots.
Exactly. We're not just reading a list of new gadgets. This is about a systemic shift in how this war is being fought as we head into 2026.
Yeah, it really is. This is a significant day, technologically speaking. We have to move past this idea that it's just more hardware.
So it's about the bigger picture.
It's about a fundamental shift in how the electromagnetic spectrum is being weaponized. It's not just making noise anymore. This is about intelligent dominance of the airwaves.
Okay, so let's start with that headline news. 70 units delivered. Now, the front line is thousands of kilometers long. Is 70 actually a big number here, or is this just a drop in the bucket?
In the world of high-end electronic warfare, or EW, 70 is a massive number.
Really?
Yeah. You have to remember these are not, disposable handheld jammers. These are complex vehicle-mounted systems. And the source here is fascinating.
The collaboration, right?
Exactly. It's between Ukraine's First Contact, that's Valery Borovik's company, and Germany's GSM-K.
GSM-K, I noticed that. They're known for cryptography, not tanks or artillery. Why is a crypto company building jamming trucks?
And that is the absolute key here. That's the secret sauce. First Contact brings the frontline experience. They know what mud and shrapnel does to this equipment.
Okay, the real-world grit.
And GSM-K brings the digital hygiene, the high-end cybersecurity. So you're getting this marriage of frontline reality and top-tier digital protection.
The report also stresses that these systems passed NATO codification and certification. Now, to most people, that probably sounds like bureaucracy. Why does that matter in a trench?
It matters hugely because of logistics and interoperability. Codification means these things aren't just rogue prototypes anymore.
They're official.
They are fully integrated into the alliance's unified defense infrastructure. They get NATO stock numbers. It simplifies the supply chains.
So if a part breaks,
you have a standardized system to rely on. But more importantly, it means they speak NATO. They can plug into Western data links. It's a stamp of approval that says this isn't some garage project. This is a standard-issue defense asset.
Okay, let's get into the hardware. The breakdown lists 3 variants. We've got the FC.K, the FC.KP, and the FC.MP. Can you walk us through them?
Sure. Let's start with the FC.K. Think of that as your shield.
The shield?
It's mounted on a Kozak 5 armored vehicle, and its main job is jamming. It creates this protective dome of interference.
We hear jamming all the time, but what's physically happening?
It's severing the umbilical cord. A drone needs 2 things to function: a video link back to the pilot so they can see, and the control signals from the pilot to steer.
And the FC.K just floods those frequencies with noise.
Exactly. The drone goes blind and deaf. It's neutralized.
Okay, so that's the shield. Then we have the FC.KP, also on the Kozak 5.
If the K is the shield, the KP is the ears.
The ears. So listening.
It's specialized for signal intelligence and direction finding. It doesn't just block signals, it hunts them. It triangulates where the Russian drone pilot is physically sitting based on his radio emissions.
Wow. And the third one, the FC.MP, that's on a different vehicle, right?
Yes, a Mercedes-Benz Unimog.
A Unimog. That's a legendary off-road truck.
And that's the whole point. The FC.MP is the heavy lifter. It's designed for deep autonomy, to go where the roads just end, mud, snow, you name it, and just sit there for days.
A long-range reconnaissance station.
A very, very survivable one.
Now, something in the tech specs really caught my eye. It says these trucks are a system of systems, and they each come with their own drone, the OSAR. That seems a bit counterintuitive. Using a drone to help a drone killer?
It sounds like it, but it's actually just basic physics. The biggest enemy of any EW system on the ground is terrain.
Hills, trees, buildings.
The curvature of the Earth, even.
Yeah.
Radio waves travel in straight lines. So your radio horizon on the ground is very short. You can't jam what you can't see electronically.
You're blocked by the tree line.
Exactly. So what do? You launch the OSA-R drone, which is tethered to the truck.
So it's a vertical extension.
It's a vertical extension of your sensor suite. You lift your ears 500 meters into the air, and suddenly you can detect signals from 50 kilometers away because you've cleared the obstacles.
That makes perfect sense. It creates a whole detect, verify, neutralize loop.
Correct. The truck picks up a signal, the OSA flies up to visually confirm it's a command post, and now you have GPS coordinates for the artillery.
I want to circle back to the German side of this, the GSM-K tech. The notes mention cryptographic assurance and a baseband firewall. This sounds like security for a bank server, not a truck on a battlefield.
Because the hunter is also the prey, Russian EW units are constantly trying to hack Ukrainian systems. It's a cyber war as much as a kinetic one.
So they could try to hack the FC unit itself?
And feed it false data or just shut it down? That's where this baseband firewall comes in.
Can you explain baseband for us non-engineers?
Sure. Your smartphone has two brains, the application processor that runs your apps, and a deeper brain called the baseband processor. That's the chip that actually talks to the cell network.
And it's vulnerable.
It's the front door that nobody locks. Hackers can send malicious code over the air that goes straight to the baseband. If they compromise that, they own the device. The GSM-K firewall basically puts a vault door on that chip.
That level of security must enable some unique capabilities.
It enables what they call the hunter capability. Because GSM-K understands cellular networks so deeply, these FC systems can map the mobile base stations in an area.
So they can spot cell towers.
They can spot rogue cell towers. The Russians often use fake base stations to intercept comms or control their own drones. The FC series scans the area and says, wait a minute, that tower ID, that's not a Ukrainian provider, that's a Russian node.
And if you find their fake tower, you've found their command hub.
You found the enemy hiding in plain sight, inside civilian infrastructure.
Which brings up survivability. If these trucks are pumping out that much jamming energy, they must light up like a Christmas tree to enemy sensors. How do you protect the crews?
That's maybe the most critical design choice here. Remote operation.
The crew isn't in the truck.
Not when it's active, no. They deploy the antenna, then they run a cable back to a bunker or a trench hundreds of meters away and operate it from a remote workstation.
So if a Russian anti-radiation missile comes in?
It hits the truck. The hardware is gone, but the specialists, the humans who take years to train, are safe.
The truck is a consumable asset. The human isn't.
Exactly. In a war of attrition, replacing a Unimog is hard. Replacing an expert EW officer is impossible.
Speaking of attrition, let's flip to the other side. The intelligence on Russian adaptations seems, well, mixed. They have things like the Kometa antenna, but there's a new report from the Zampotek Foundation on their drone engines.
And it suggests a very serious problem. This is a classic case of quantity over quality.
We're talking about the Shahid drones.
Right. The original Iranian design ones used a pretty decent engine, the MD-550. It could last for 20-plus hours.
But now Russia is making their own copies.
And the quality has fallen off a cliff. The Russian-made copies are failing after just 4 or 5 hours. But it gets worse. They're sourcing even cheaper engines from China, the Telefly models. Those are reportedly seizing up after just 1.5 to 2 hours.
Wait, an hour and a half? That's barely enough time to get to a target.
It's barely enough if everything goes perfectly. But this creates a huge tactical exploit for Ukrainian EW teams.
Ah, I see where this is going. You don't actually need to shoot it down.
You just have to delay it. If an FC.K system can jam the drone's navigation for 30 minutes, make it circle around confused,
The engine just dies.
and gravity takes over, you turn their manufacturing defect into your kill switch. You don't waste a $50,000 missile, you just make it run out of gas.
This all feeds into the wider strategic picture. Commander-in-Chief Syrskyi released some statistics today, February 6th, that are just staggering.
The numbers really do tell the story of this war. In early 2024, drone fire damage effectiveness was, what, 4%?
4%. And today, early 2026.
33%. It's an exponential leap in lethality.
He also said drones now account for nearly 60% of all frontline effects. That's more than artillery.
We have officially moved from the era of the artillery duel to the drone swarm. And this is what enables this concept of pushing the kill zone.
The report mentions pushing it 15 to 20 kilometers behind Russian lines. How does an FC system do that?
By blinding the spotters. Russian artillery needs its own drones, the Orlan-10, the Supercam, to see targets. If the FC systems create a safe corridor where those recon drones can't see,
Then Ukrainian bomber drones can fly through that gap.
and you trap their armored formations 20 kilometers back. They can't move forward, but they can't see you to shoot back. It freezes that part of the front.
But they're not just hitting 20 kilometers back. We're seeing strikes 2,000 kilometers away, like at the Alenia Air Base. Which brings us to Operation Spider's Web.
This is one of the most audacious tactics of the entire war. Ukraine realized flying a drone all the way from their own territory is just too difficult.
So they're launching from inside Russia.
Yes, smuggling components in, assembling them locally, but the genius part is how they're controlled. They are using the Spider's Web, Russia's own 3G and 4G mobile networks.
Controlling their attack drones using the enemy's cell towers.
Precisely. And this ties right back to the FC trucks we started with. Remember the FC.KP and its ability to map mobile networks?
The signal intelligence.
That data is almost certainly used to plan these deep strikes. You need to know where the towers are, which networks are strong, to plot a flight path for a drone that is literally surfing the Russian cellular grid.
The defensive system on the front provides the map for the offensive strike in the rear.
It's all connected. It's a true system of systems.
And when you look at how Ukraine is building and buying this stuff versus the West, the contrast is stark. We saw the news today from the UK Ministry of Defense on the Watchkeeper drone.
It's a painful comparison. The UK is decommissioning the entire Watchkeeper fleet. They're not even sending them to Ukraine. They're scrapping them.
Why? Isn't any drone better than no drone?
Not if it costs millions, needs a runway, and is so electronically loud that it gets jammed or shot down instantly. Watchkeeper was built for a different war, a different era. It's just not survivable today.
So you compare that to the Brave One model in Ukraine.
And it's night and day. You have Ukrainian companies like Aero Motors raising venture capital to build 60,000 engines a month.
60,000 a month, that's industrial scale.
It's venture capitalized defense. It's about rapid iteration. They push software updates every 2 weeks. If a Russian jammer changes, the Ukrainian code adapts 3 days later. The West's cycles are measured in years.
The lesson seems to be mass over perfection.
And adaptability over pedigree. Even the U.S. Air Force is watching and talking about learning from Kiev, moving away from these huge, exquisite platforms to swarms of cheaper, disposable ones.
Before we wrap, let's look ahead. Valery Borovic from First Contact made some predictions for what comes after 2026. He says the war is moving to space.
It's the logical next step. If you jam terrestrial communications, everyone starts relying on satellites. So the next frontier becomes counter-satellite ops.
And he also mentioned AI autonomy.
That's the end game for this current generation of EW. If a drone uses onboard AI to identify targets without any radio link back to a pilot, jamming becomes useless.
The drone doesn't need a signal to kill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The FEC series is the perfect answer to the radio-controlled threat of today. But the labs are already working on the autonomous threat of tomorrow. It's an endless cycle.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Western nations spend billions on platforms like the F-35 or the Watchkeeper, with development cycles that span decades. But in a world where a modified civilian engine can decide a strategic strike, and software updates are the key to survival, are our traditional military procurement cycles becoming a national security risk themselves?
Are we building a high-tech Maginot Line, just waiting to be overrun by cheap, adaptable, and constant innovation? It's a question every Ministry of Defense needs to answer, and fast.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
A fascinating discussion. Thanks for having me.
Subscribe to Defense Reports, your trusted source for timely, in-depth military and defense analysis. We'll see you next time. Keep supporting us so we can continue bringing you the latest developments from Ukraine and around the world.